Lost is a highly addictive TV show from the mid-2000s about the survivors of a plane wreck who found themselves on a deserted island where nothing made sense and they were not alone. Lost might be a zone where single socks, class rings, your favorite hat, sunglasses, my brother's car keys, glass eyeballs, and the Watergate tapes, and my six-toed cat Sasquatch dwell while waiting to be found. Or not. Lost is how Ming Kwang Chen felt in an elevator in the Bronx. Chen was making a delivery to a high-rise apartment when the elevator he was riding malfunctioned and dropped him almost 30 floors, stranding Chen between the third and fourth floors. Chen screamed, pressed the alarm button, and banged on the elevator door. But for 3 days, no one heard his cries for help, and no one looked for him. Being lost is never fun. Being lost and realizing that no one is looking for you is even worse. To God, lost describes people who are not where they are supposed to be. Found describes people who are exactly where they are supposed to be, with Him, in Jesus. There is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus, Romans 8:1. God prefers that people be found rather than lost, so He sent His Son into this world to find and save them. Jesus was a magnet for lost people. They were drawn to Him because He was drawn to them. The rejected found acceptance, the hurt found healing, the judged found the judge to be surprisingly non-judgmental. The gospel writer Luke penned these words: "The tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus, but the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, 'This man welcomes sinners and eats with them.'" Luke 15:1-2. The Pharisees were the religious leaders of Jesus' day. Sinners was a term the Pharisees and teachers of God's law used to identify lawbreakers, people they considered social pariahs, and so morally filthy they had to be avoided at all cost. Sinners was a term the Pharisees used to justify marginalizing people whose behavior they found reprehensible, to identify people they viewed as beyond the hopes of salvation. I found it's almost impossible to love someone you've labeled. That being said, sinners was a term the Pharisees used to label people they didn't want to have to love or feel guilty for not loving. There are not degrees of true love. Jesus truly loved sinners, so He ate with them. Jesus ate with people the Pharisees crossed the road to avoid. Jesus ate with people we cross the street to avoid. Why? He truly loved people, even though He didn't like their sin. There are not degrees of sin. We're all sinners, Romans 3:23. Sinners was a term Jesus used to identify people who have missed the mark, and we've all missed the mark, in the past, now, and every second of our lives this side of heaven. Yet, Jesus still eats with us here on earth because He wants to eat with us for all eternity. So, ironically, the Pharisees were right about Jesus. He was welcoming sinners and eating with them. He was eating with sinners even when He was eating with Pharisees. You eat with a sinner every time you eat with me, and I eat with the sinner every time I eat with you. The Pharisees missed the mark by missing the point that we're all in need of salvation. We miss the mark when we forget the same thing. Let me pause here and make an important point. As I mentioned earlier, the methods in this book work. I've used them over the years to reach many people for Christ. Eating with sinners or building intentional relationships with lost people through which they can be introduced to Jesus is the most effective way I know to reach people for Christ. But I also want you to know that I have to be very intentional about interacting with lost people because for many years, as a preacher at a Christian church, I became insulated and isolated from lost people. It wasn't always like that. I used to be immersed in a world of lost people. I rode my big wheel with them. I sat next to them in school. In the cafeteria, I traded my last piece of bazooka bubblegum for their chocolate milk. We played soccer together, went to see Footloose together, skated all skates together at the Sun Skate skating rink, danced to Rock Lobster together, laughed together, took driver's ed together, went to Just Say No to Drugs assemblies together, took the SAT together, graduated together, and waited tables together. But eventually, my encounters with lost people became fewer and farther apart. Today, because of the lessons I learned from Jesus in the Gospel of Luke, I am very intentional about building relationships with lost people. Because of what I've learned about the power and importance of eating with sinners, I am in a very different place and very different places. I sold my weight set and joined a local gym instead of adding to my home gym. I seek out opportunities to get involved with my local government to work on community projects. My family and I partner with our community to build a $1.3 million universally accessible playground called Avon's Village. For the past few years, on my days off and most evenings throughout the year, I coach track, cross country, and basketball at a local public high school, Frontier Academy. Coaching allows me to build relationships with a lot of great people in our community. It's through coaching that I met a young man named Joel. Joel's father has never been in the picture,